Scott, 10 years, and Henry, 10 years, playing video games together on the couch. The room is filled with warmth, reflecting their close bond. Laughter echoes as they tease each other. Scott, laughing, "You can't beat me." "Oh boy, I am the champion." Henry, mock serious. "We'll see about that. Watch this move." They continued playing, enjoying the innocence of childhood. The camera slowly pans to show family photos on the wall, highlighting the contrast between Scott's modest background and Henry family's wealth. The playground is bursting with students. 16-year-old Henry, now a tall, confident teenager, walks with his usual swagger, flanked by a small group of friends. They command attention as they move through the crowd. Scott, who is 16 years as well, follows behind, a little more reserved but comfortable with Henry's protection. They pass a group of notorious gang members, led by Tunji, 17 years old, a rough, intimidating figure. The gang watches Henry with thinly veiled disdain. Tunji, to his gang, sneering, "There goes Mr. Golden Boy and his little pet. One day he will be all alone, and we will see how tough he really is." The gang laughs, but their eyes linger on Scott with malicious intent. The sky's overcast, casting a gloomy shadow. Scott walks alone, his backpack slung over his shoulders. As he turns a corner into a secluded alley, he is suddenly grabbed by two members of Tunji's gang. They drag him into the alley, where Tunji is waiting. Scott, struggling, panicking. "What do you want? Let me go." Tunji, menacingly. "Henry is not here to protect you now." Is he? You've had this coming for a long time." Tunji, and the gang beat Scott brutally. Scott cries out in pain, trying to shield himself, but he is overpowered. One of the gang members pulls out a switchblade and slashes Scott's arm, leaving a deep wound. Tunji, grinning, wiping blood off the blade. "Tell your friend this was his fault." They leave Scott lying on the ground, bleeding and gasping for breath. The Brown family is gathered, celebrating Henry's acceptance into a prestigious foreign university. The room is filled with relatives, and everyone is toasting to Henry's success. Henry is at the center, smiling but occasionally glancing at his phone. Chief Martins Brown raises his glass. "To my son Henry, the pride of our family. May your journey be successful, and may you continue to make us proud." Everyone raises their glasses and cheers. Henry smiles, but his mind is elsewhere. Henry speaks to his mother quietly. "I haven't heard from Scott in days. I hope he is okay." Mrs. Brown, reassuringly, "He's probably just busy with schoolwork." "Don't worry, son. You'll see him when you get back." Henry nods, but the unease remains. Scott sits at his desk, a bandage wrapped around his arm. His room is dark, lit only by the dim glow of his computer screen. On the screen are multiple tabs open to websites about hacking, online scams, and fraudulent schemes. Scott's face is hardened, his innocence replaced by a cold determination. Scott, muttering to himself, "No one's going to protect me anymore. I have to take care of myself now." He begins typing furiously, his face set in a grim expression. Scott is fully immersed. His transformation into a fraudster begins. Henry stands at the gate, ready to board his flight. His family is there to see him off, but his eyes scan the crowd for Scott. After a moment, he gives up and turns to his parents. Henry, forcing a smile, "I guess Scott couldn't make it. I will call him when the plane lands." Chief Martins Brown pats his son's back. "Focus on your studies, Henry. The world is yours to conquer." Henry nods, but a lingering sadness remains. He hugs his parents and walks toward the gate, occasionally glancing back, hoping to see Scott one last time. Scott walks through the dark, empty street, his face expressionless. He stops in front of Henry's family house. The once vibrant home that had Henry in it is now silent, reflecting the void in Scott's heart. He stands there for a moment, then turns and walks away into the night, his figure slowly disappearing into the shadows. Scott, now in his late 20s, sits behind a large desk, sharply dressed and exuding confidence. He is on the phone speaking in a calm, calculated manner. Scott speaks into the phone with a cold smile. The transaction is complete. Ensure the funds are moved offshore before dawn. We can't afford any mistakes. He hangs up and leans back in his chair, looking out over the city skyline, his face revealing a man who has left his past far behind but is still haunted by the shadows of betrayal. The sound of a phone notification breaks the silence. Scott glances at the screen, and his expression changes to one of surprise. The screen shows a message. Henry is back in town. Scott's face shows a mixture of emotions, anger, regret, and anticipation as he stares at the screen of his phone.